Hello students, from this video let us learn the next experiment from our engineering chemistry lab 18 CHE 16 bar 26. We were discussing the part B of the engineering chemistry lab, that is volumetric experiment. First experiment we have finished, so let us continue with our second experiment. Once again, the second experiment is also from part B, volumetric estimation of calcium oxide in cement. So this is our second experiment, so let us just begin with it. Principles of the experiment. What is cement? A cement is a binder, a substance used for construction that sets, hardens and adheres to other materials to bind them together. So we all seen the cement. What is cement? We already know. So now how to estimate it? Now cement is a powder, but we are not taking directly cement powder in our experiment, but we are converting cement powder into cement solution. So how to do that? So a known weight of cement powder is treated with concentrated hydrochloric acid. That means it dissolves in hydrochloric acid and it is filtered. So now there are so many other constituent in the cement. Some will be dissolved, some will be undissolved, some will be converted into some other form. They will precipitate, so which will understand. Before that, let us just chemically know what is cement. Cement is a mixture of oxides of calcium, aluminum, magnesium, iron and small amount of silica. Calcium oxide is a prime constituent of cement, so its percentage will be more as compared to others, and the general composition of Indian Portland cement is as follows. So now see students, now each manufacturer adds some extra component to it, or they minimize some components. It totally depends upon their composition. What brand by brand the cement composition changes, but a standard Portland cement, what all it contains, let us just see. It contains calcium oxide 60 to 66%, silicon dioxide SiO2 17 to 25%, aluminium oxide Al2O3 is 3 to 8%. It has Fe2O3 2 to 6%, MgO it will be having 0.1 to 5.5%, SiO3 is 1 to 3%, sodium SiO3 is sulfur trioxide, then Na2O and K2O, which are sodium oxide and potassium oxide 0.5 to 1.5%. Now see, as you can see by this composition, it is clear that cement not only contains calcium oxide, which is the main component we are going to determine the experiment, as the experiment heading itself states estimation of calcium oxide in cement. Now what percent of calcium oxide is present in the given cement we are going to estimate. So it doesn't only contain CaO, but also it contains SiO2, Al2O3, Fe2O3, MgO, so many other constituent it contains. Okay, now as I was already discussing how the cement solution is prepared. Now we are not taking a powder form of cement, but we are treating it with concentrated HCl and we are dissolving it. Okay, when we are doing that, some of the component in the cement, such as silica, SiO2, silica does not dissolve by adding HCl, so it will just settle down at the bottom in the beaker. Then Fe2O3 and Al2O3, they will get precipitated and will be suspended in the solution. Now when we are filtering this beaker, contents of the beaker after treating with concentrated HCl, in the filter paper, SiO2, Fe2O3 and precipitation of Fe2O3 and Al2O3 will be collected on the filter paper itself. Then whatever clear filtrate we are getting, after filtration, whatever is collected in the beaker is called as filtrate. Whatever filtrate contains now calcium oxide and magnesium oxide. It doesn't only contain calcium oxide but also contains magnesium oxide. So eventually magnesium oxide will be removed from the cement solution by some other way, which we'll understand when we'll go through the chemicals. In this manner, powder cement is converted into cement solution. So this was the first part of the experiment. Anyways, this part will be done already, and in the lab when we are starting the experiment, directly cement sample solution will be provided to you for the experiment. Okay, so let us see which all are the chemicals we are using in the experiment. Yes, very first chemical we are using is standard EDTA solution, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. Students, this type of titration, whatever we have observed in the previous experiment number 1, total hardness and even estimation of calcium oxide in cement, experiment number 2, this type of titrations are called as complexometric titration. Here what exactly happens? Now calcium ions, Ca2 plus ions present in the analyte solution. In the previous case, in the experiment 1, it was hard water. Now here cement sample, whatever calcium is present, it will be present in ionic form, Ca2 plus form. It will be complexed by EDTA. Now EDTA is complexing agent. It complexes Ca2 plus ions. Hence the titration name is given as complexometric titration. And whatever indicator we are using in the experiment is also an complex, it also forms complex, so which we'll understand later. So first experiment is EDTA. EDTA is used as titrant. Here what prepared EDTA is filled in burette, and it is used to determine the calcium oxide. Now second is dilute ammonia solution. Now dilute ammonia solution is used to dissolve EDTA. Why? Because whatever EDTA we are using, it is sodium salt of EDTA, so which will be sparingly soluble in water. It will not be completely soluble in water. Why we need to dissolve add ammonia solution for the dissolution? Here is the question. For that answer is, so whatever EDTA powder, it will not be completely soluble in water but sparingly soluble. So to increase its solubility, first it must be dissolved in ammonia, then the solution must be prepared by using dilute H2SO4. In the procedure in the experiment, so we'll understand it. So next chemical is dilute diethylamine buffer solution. So now here diethylamine is the buffer used in this experiment. In the previous experiment we have used ammonium chloride, ammonium hydroxide buffer. Here diethylamine buffer. Now why diethylamine buffer we have to use? Why can't we use the previous buffer? Previous in the sense NH4Cl, NH4OH, ammonium chloride, ammonium hydroxide buffer. So why? Because in this experiment we need to maintain the pH at around 12.4. Why so high pH? Why pH is toward basic? You will understand. To maintain this 12.4 pH, around 12.4 pH, we need to add diethylamine buffer. So next is 1:1 glycerol solution. Now here glycerol solution is added to get a sharp endpoint. It masks magnesium ions present in the solution. As I told you students already, in the whatever pipetted calcium cement solution, along with calcium oxide, magnesium oxide will be present, which must be removed before the titration. Otherwise there will be wrong burette reading, extra burette reading, because of the interference of magnesium ions. To minimize the interference of magnesium ions, first we need to add glycerol. It masks magnesium ion. Then we need to add to an NaOH solution. Now when we are adding NaOH, sodium hydroxide solution, it specifically reacts with magnesium ions and converts it into magnesium hydroxide. Now when it is magnesium is in magnesium hydroxide form, it is inactive. When we are adding EDTA, EDTA does not react with magnesium hydroxide, but only it will reacts with calcium ions present. In this manner, we are converting magnesium ions present in the cement sample solution into magnesium hydroxide. So next solution is next chemical is pattern and readers indicator. Now why can't we use because color change will be same, red to blue, why can't we use our EBT, aerochrome black indicator? Why? Because in the previous experiment the pH maintained was 10. Now here, because we are adding base NaOH, a strong base, so we pH range will be higher, 12.4. so at that 12.4 pH range, EBT will not work, so we need to add some other indicator which works at this high pH, 12.4 pH, which is pattern and readers indicator. So now color changes red to blue. I'll quickly explain you how exactly this works. Okay, now when we are before that, let us just observe the procedure. After that I'll explain you. So then, cement sample solution, and of course distilled water here used to prepare the EDTA solution as well as for rinsing purpose. Now procedure. Okay, first part of the procedure is same as that of your experiment 1. So this so for this what we need, so accurately weighed EDTA powder will be given, EDTA salt powder will be given. To it 1 test tube full of dilute ammonia we need to add. We need to dissolve that dilute ammonia, then we need to transfer it into standard 250 ml volumetric flask, and slowly by adding distilled water, we must add distilled water till the mark 250 ml mark, and proper shaking. We need to make sure that the prepared solution is uniform. In this manner EDTA solution is prepared, and this same prepared EDTA solution we must fill in burette, and we have to use it as the titrant. Then second part is estimation of calcium oxide. Okay, first step is to pipette out 25 ml of the given cement solution into a clean conical flask. To it we have to add 10 ml of diethylamine buffer and 10 ml of 1:1 glycerol, 10 ml of 2N-NaOH, and pinch of pattern and readers indicator to it. So now here, to the cement solution, when we are adding diethylamine plus glycerol plus NaOH, there will not be any color change. The solution in the conical flask will be colorless itself. We need to shake it properly, then we need to add pattern and readers indicator. Now after adding pattern and readers indicator, the solution in the conical flask will turn to red. Now why it turns to red or wine red color? Because when we are adding pattern and readers indicator, calcium ions, Ca2 plus ions present in the conical flask will be complexed by pattern and readers indicator. There will be formation of one complex between calcium ions and pattern and readers indicator, whose color will be red. Otherwise pattern and readers color will be blue. So when it is added to calcium solution, it will turn to red. Okay, then next, okay, now we need to titrate this solution with standard EDTA solution until red color changes to blue. Now initially, before adding EDTA, the conical flask color will be after adding indicator it will be red. Then slowly at the end point it will turn to blue. Now why it will turn to blue? As soon as we add a drop of EDTA, what happens inside? So in the red color complex is because of the indicator plus calcium ion complex. Now as soon as we add EDTA is more stronger as compared to the indicator when we are talking about complexing. So what happens when more stronger EDTA comes? The calcium ion detaches from indicator calcium complex, and it will complex with EDTA from indicator plus Ca2 plus. Now it will be EDTA plus Ca2 plus, which will be colorless. Now slowly at the end point, when all the indicator plus Ca2 plus complex is converted into Ca2 plus plus calcium complex, the indicator with no Ca2 plus will bear its original color, which is blue. So quickly I have explained you how exactly this color change works. So now this is the procedure for estimation of calcium oxide in cement. So let us just observe now the experiment. Okay, now after this color change, once again we need to record the readings and we need to repeat the titration for agreeing value. Okay students, let us just observe which all are the chemicals we are going to use in the experiment. So first chemical which we are using is ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, or EDTA. EDTA powder will be given to you, to which you need to add dilute ammonia and try to dissolve it in it, and then you need to prepare 250 ml solution out of it. That part I am not going to explain, already explained in the first experiment, just go through it. So first chemical is ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, or EDTA. Then of course dilute ammonia. To prepare EDTA solution, dilute ammonia must be added to EDTA powder and it must be dissolved, and it must be transferred in 250 ml volumetric flask by using distilled water. We must dilute the content in the conical flask and we must prepare EDTA solution. Now whatever prepared EDTA solution, we must fill it in burette. Now see here, directly I have prepared EDTA solution. As you can see here, at 250 ml, exactly at 250 ml mark, till 250 ml mark we need to add distilled water and shake the content properly, and this prepared EDTA must be filled in burette, and make sure that you are filling the burette till 0 mark, and if any air column is there at the bottom, you must remove it. You must take the solution well above the 0 mark and the air column must be removed, which how to do that I have explained in the previous experiment. Now next chemical is cement sample. So now cement sample, we must pipette out 25 ml of cement sample into the conical flask. Now how it is prepared already I explained. We must take cement powder, to it we must add concentrated HCl, then let us after dissolving it we must filter it off, and the filtrate must be diluted and taken as cement sample. Next chemical is diethylamine buffer. Now here buffer is added to maintain 12.4 pH. 1 test to full will be 10 ml. Then next is 1:1 glycerol solution. It must be added to marks the Mg2 plus ions present in the solution, and it will give the sharp endpoint. Next is 2N-NaOH. So NaOH must be added to convert Mg2 plus ions into magnesium hydroxide, so that it must not interfere during the titration. So otherwise we will get more burette reading, excess burette reading, which we don't want. Next is pattern and readers indicator. Pattern and readers powder is crushed along with KCl, and fine powder of it is taken as the indicator in the dry form itself, as we have seen in the previous case. EBT is also we have taken in dry form. A pinch of it will be more than enough. Okay, so now these are the chemicals: ethylene, EDTA, dilute ammonia, then once again EDTA solution, cement sample solution, diethylamine buffer, glycerol, 2N-NaOH, of course distilled water, and pattern and readers indicator. Now whatever apparatus we are using is same, conical flask. Why? Because in all the volumetric experiment we will be using same apparatus. Then a beaker, a funnel, dropper, pipette, 25 ml capacity pipette we are using, then a glass rod, a volumetric flask to prepare EDTA solution, Then a 50 ml capacity burette in which we are filling the titrant. So these all are the apparatus we are using in the estimation of calcium oxide in cement. Okay, let us just start with our experiment. First, pipette out 25 ml of cement sample. Okay, now before pipetting you must rinse the pipette. So for that, what you need to do, you have to hold the pipette like this, so that you are creating a vacuum, and just leave it when you are inserting the pipette well inside the cement sample or any chemical for that matter. Then pipette out a little bit of solution and just give circular rotations so that you are rinsing, or you are taking any excess of washed distilled water, if anything present in the pipette. Just decant that solution, just throw that solution. Next, you have to pipette out 25 ml of cement sample solution. Okay, when the level reaches exactly to the mark, so it is 25 ml. Now transfer the 25 ml in the conical flask, give a tap so that you are removing any excess drops present in the conical flask. Now this is 25 ml of pipetted cement sample solution. To it, one by one we will add the chemicals. So very first chemical we are going to add is our diethylamine buffer. So one test tube will make 10 ml. So I'll be adding one test tube full of diethylamine buffer. Then we need to shake it well. Now diethylamine buffer we are adding to maintain the pH. If pH is not maintained, the indicator will not show proper coloration, or it will not see the distinct red to blue color. Okay, now give it a proper shake. Then after that, add our glycerol. 1:1 glycerol solution we are adding. So after adding glycerol solution, we just once again just give a proper shaking. Now glycerol will mask magnesium ions, and it will give a sharp endpoint. After shaking, still the color will be colorless. Then last chemical before adding indicator we need to add is 2N-NaOH solution. Now 2N-NaOH is a strong base. It is added to convert magnesium ions into magnesium hydroxide. Now after adding NaOH, all the magnesium ions are converted into magnesium hydroxide. Whatever the precipitate color will be colorless, so we can't see it. Now it has only calcium ions. Now as already told, when otherwise pattern and readers color, here it looks like black, but it is not black, it is deep blue. So when we are adding pattern and readers indicators, as you can see, initial there was blue coloration. So to the solution containing calcium, it will slowly turn to red color. So now this is the wine red color we are observing because of indicator calcium complex. Now indicator calcium complex is formed, because of which we have now red color. Now just adjust the flow of the burette so that a drop by drop solution falls, and make sure that you are starting your titration with 0, or you can start it from anywhere, but just note down the initial burette reading. I just noted down the initial burette reading, adjust the flow and just start titrating. So slowly this wine red color will turn to purplish color, then ultimately it will turn to blue color. So now when it turns to blue color, that means all the as you can see here, students, slowly the color changed from red to, slowly it is turning to violet color. So now, okay, as you can see here, it is now violet color. So next, now you should be careful when its solution reaches to this color. You must careful and you must be careful, and you must add slowly the solution. Okay, now what is happening? Slowly the indicator calcium complex is breaking, and EDTA calcium complex is formed. So now as you can see here, this color is ocean blue color. Now kerosene blue. This is the endpoint we are observing. So red to blue is the endpoint. See, as you can see here, now all the EDTA complexed with calcium and we formed a colorless complex, but now you need to note down, as after getting the endpoint, you just need to note down the burette reading. Now I'm starting with second trial. I already pipetted all the contents what we need to do, and we need to pipette out cement sample, then all the glycerol all I have added. Now I am starting my second reading. Okay, I can start my second reading from where I stopped. Now this becomes, initially it was 0. Now after titration I got around 5 ml, so it becomes my final burette reading. Initial was 0, this was final, but now for this second trial I'll be starting from 5. 5 becomes my initial burette reading, and I got my endpoint at around 10. So for second trial my initial burette reading was 5 and end was 10. As you can see the difference in the color, so initially it was red, now it changed to blue. Simple experiment here, students. Color change is also simple. This was our second experiment. Now you can repeat this experiment for number of times and note down the burette reading. Okay students, we learned how to perform the experiment and how to note down the initial burette reading and final burette reading. Now let us just see how to express it and how to calculate the percentage of calcium oxide. So let us just observe observations and calculations. Okay, now we already understood that the experiment has two parts. One is preparation of standard EDTA solution, and second will be estimation of calcium oxide. Now, how to prepare the EDTA solution we already learned. Now, whatever we have prepared, EDTA solution, what concentration or what molarity we have prepared, we will understand by doing this simple calculation. For that, what we need, mass of EDTA dissolved in 250 ml. So, in the beaker, initially it will not be told to you that what gram is given, but after you do your experiment, after getting 3 trials, it will be told to you. So whatever EDTA I have taken was 1.00 gram, which is nothing but our W. Then how to get molarity of EDTA, MEDTA? By doing this simple calculation, W into 4 divided by 372.24. So here W is mass of EDTA, then into 4 we need to convert it to 1 liter, then 372.24 is molecular mass of EDTA. After doing simple substitution, we'll get 1.00 into 4 divided by 372.24. We are getting MEDTA, which is 0.01 molar, which is our X. Then next is estimation of calcium oxide in cement. In burette we have taken standard EDTA solution. In conical flask 25 ml of cement sample. To it we have added 10 ml of diethylamine buffer plus 10 ml glycerol plus 10 ml of 4N NaOH. Then indicator used was pinch of pattern and readers indicator. Then end point was red to blue. After doing this, we are getting burette readings. So burette reading, how to represent the burette readings in the tabulation. Okay, now in this manner we need to express our burette reading. Suppose initial burette reading was 0, then final burette reading, if we are getting 9.0, then volume of EDTA solution used becomes 9.0. Then for the second trial, if we have refilled the burette, then second trial, if we are getting 9.2, then volume of EDTA solution will be 9.2. Okay, once again I can refill the burette and do the third trial, or I can straight away start from where I stopped. That means 9.2 becomes now initial burette reading 9.2. This is once again optional. You can either start from where you stopped, or once again you can refill and make it 0 and you can start. Okay, then if I have started initial burette reading from 9.2 and I got burette reading 18.2, then my volume of EDTA solution will be difference of these two, which will be 9. Okay, so here two readings are 9 and one is 9.2. So my agreeing value will be 9.0 ml. In this manner we need to express our burette reading. So here I got VEDTA and already I got MEDTA. Now how to do the calculation and to get the percentage of calcium oxide. Let us see calculations. 1000 ml of 1 MEDTA is equals to 56.08 gram of calcium oxide. So here 56.08 is nothing but molecular mass of calcium oxide. So next, for V EDTA ml of XM EDTA is equals to how much, which will be 56.08 into X into V divided by 1 gram of calcium oxide. Now here X is X value is a molarity of EDTA, which is MEDTA, and V is Butyric agreeing value. So after substituting that, 56.08 into 0.01 into 9 divided by 1, we are getting 5.047 gram of calcium oxide. Now here 5.047 gram of calcium oxide is for 25 ml. So for 250 ml, how much we need to calculate that first. For 25 ml cement, Y gram of calcium oxide. So for 250 ml, Y into 10 we have to do. So after doing that, 5.047 into 10, we are getting 50.47 gram, which is Z. So percentage of calcium oxide in cement solution is equals to Z into 100 divided by A. Here A is equals to 100, one more conversion factor. So after substitution, 50.47 into 100 divided by 100, we are getting percentage of calcium oxide present in the given cement solution. So result, how to express the result? Percentage of calcium oxide in cement solution is 50.47%. So in this manner, we have to calculate the percentage of calcium oxide present in cement solution. I hope everything is clear to you now. So thank you.